Good morning, everybody. Welcome to today's Morning Coffee with Mike. Today, we are talking about what happens if you can't get beyond a certain dollar amount in your account. This question came in. I thought that this question was absolutely fascinating. My account won't grow beyond X. Please help me. Is it a psychological thing? Is it a mathematical thing? Not sure what it is. Can you please help? Well, let's dig into this question. I find this to be fascinating. And if you have struggled with this question, please type it down into the chat. Let me know. And if you have questions that you want to be answered on the show, drop comments down wherever you happen to be watching it. If you're watching it over here on Instagram, if you're watching it on Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, Twitter, wherever you're watching it, drop your question down below and we'll answer it on a future show. Now, let's dig into this. My account can't grow beyond X amount. Can you help? There's a couple of different ways to tackle this question: psychology and the math. Let's start with the psychology part of it. Well, with the psychological part of it, we want to question the amount, right? My account can't grow beyond X. X might be a different number for everyone. For some people, it might be my account's not growing beyond 10 grand. For some people, it might be my account's not growing above 100 grand. For others, it might be getting above a million, maybe 10 million, right? These psychological barriers where you start to add a zero to your account balance. Those tend to be psychological triggers for a lot of people. So when we start to think about that number, right? Well, when you start to think about that number, what thoughts start to come up? Right? The best way to start to figure out well uh, what the types of thoughts that are happening, the types of emotions that you're feeling, the best way is to start to question them. Right? Questions tend to be the answer. So, what thoughts pop up when you get to that psychological number? Maybe they're negative. Maybe some of them might be fear based. Maybe it's a psychological barrier, right? Like a almost like a marathon, something that you've never gone that high before, and it's just like, wow, well, things are going to really change. Maybe there's a level of excitement. Maybe there's a certain fear. Maybe you might think that when I get to a certain level, things are going to be different. Things are going to be different for my family. Maybe some people are going to hear that I get to this certain level and that they might start asking me for things, right? That there could be any number of beliefs tied to a certain dollar amount. So start to ask yourself, well, when I get to X amount that you've been struggling with, what thoughts come to mind? When you start to think about what thoughts come to mind, also think about what emotions start to come up. Put yourself in that state, put yourself in that emotional state. Feel what is coming up. Feel the fear, feel the excitement, feel the joy, feel whatever it is when you get to that amount. Well, let's say that you're there right now. Right? Let's say that you're close to getting to that level, that psychological level. Well, what are you feeling? Maybe it's fear, maybe it's dread, maybe you're getting close to it and you're kind of hoping that you get there and maybe that's the feeling. Maybe it's hope. Maybe it's that on the rise, right? You're climbing up the mountain, you are focused on the process of climbing the mountain and when you're getting closer to the summit, the thoughts start to change from process to hoping that you get to the top. Yeah, the way to find out what it is for you is to go through this thought exercise, go through putting yourself uh in the mindset and in the emotional state of what it is that you're thinking. And then you could start to dissect what it is that you're seeing there. So put yourself in that emotional state, get a vivid picture and question, well, what is it? Get very clear on that. That would be the first way to start to tackle if it's psychological problem or well what the psychological things that are happening on might be. Next, let's talk about the math. Let's talk about the math behind it. So if you're having trouble hitting a certain dollar amount, there could be a mathematical component to it. Mathematical component. Now, what does that mean? That means that are you able to buy enough of the asset that it is that you're trying to get? If you're trying to get to say a $10,000 threshold, right? Like let's say you're starting out with 5 grand and you're trying to get to 10 grand, then uh, having enough shares is not going to be the problem, right? Unless if you're dealing in some kind of odd penny stock or something like that, then it's not going to be that's not going to be the problem. But if you're dealing with a million and you're trying to get to 10 million, maybe it could be for a certain asset. If your system is focused on a specific asset, maybe it's very thinly traded. Something to consider. Is more likely, though, is there enough opportunity? And are you trading with enough size? Enough opportunity might be if your system only executes, say, once a month, maybe once a quarter. Systems like these can be very profitable, but if you're struggling to reach a certain dollar amount, that could be the thing that is holding you back, that you don't have enough opportunities to work your edge. Is size a problem? Is size a problem? Are you betting big enough? Are you betting too big? Where if you were to place a trade to get beyond a certain dollar amount and the trade does not go your way, does that cause a major setback? And now all of a sudden you're in drawdown mode. Enough shares, enough opportunity, enough size are all important concepts. Each of these, if you're not aware, all fall back to certain skill sets, right? So it goes to position sizing, it goes to risk management, it goes to trade management, it actually goes to portfolio management too. And of course, all these things are linked by mindset, psychology, all things that are talked about inside the Trading Mind Wheel book. That's why I wrote this book in the first place, to show you guys uh, the psychology that goes into trading, the types of questions to ask ourselves, not just about trades and market analysis and things like that, but to question the beliefs that we have about trading, question the beliefs that we have about money, question the beliefs that we have about ourselves. And from there, we could start to see, well, what's leading me closer to this goal that I have and what is not. A tactic that I gave to someone that was experiencing this question, uh, or this problem of not being able to get beyond a certain equity amount was, well, what would happen if you're getting close to that equity curve amount, right? For this person, it was a million. And that just something about having that seven-figure account, right? Was triggering them. So what if we played a game where as you're starting to get close to it, right? Like, well, whatever the number happens to be for you, for this person, when they would start to get from to about 900,000, that's when the mind started to shift that, oh, I'm getting close, right? It's only another 100K to go and I'm going to be there. What if you started to take out money from the account and shift it somewhere else when you get to that stage? Then your account could be reset back down to 800, maybe down to 750, maybe down to 7. And then instead of being closer to the summit where your focus goes from, okay, I'm focused on process. Now I'm getting closer to the summit. Okay, now I'm hoping that I get to the summit. Now you're back down here and you're still focused on process and you could keep on climbing. The money still is yours. The money is still being siphoned off, but psychologically, you are hitting a reset button so that way you're perpetually climbing versus trying to get to this summit, this psychological barrier. Ended up working for this person. Maybe it'll work for you. Type into the chat, let me know what you think. And while you're thinking about that question, I'll scroll through Instagram here. Still waiting for some comments from YouTube and LinkedIn and Twitter and all you guys. Let's see what questions have come in. Start from the top over here on Instagram. Let's scroll down. All right, 5-year, 100K plan says struggle to tie a strategy down. Been doing this for over 12 months now. So a couple of things in there. One, I would say that you're still in the discovery phase. 12 months might seem like a very long time to be getting involved in trading. Uh, for most people, trading, well, when they hear about trading, it seems like something that could be easy. Especially on Instagram, there's a lot of people posting crazy returns. You click a button, and then all of a sudden you're up 18, 19 grand. People are posting pictures of lifestyle. People are posting pictures of fancy cars, and you start to think that it's very easy, and that I should be able to have those giant returns and the cars and everything within a year. What's wrong with me? I've been struggling now and I can't get past this point. Well, trading takes longer than 12 months to learn and certainly more than 12 months to master. Most of us learn this the hard way, and it's because of all the lifestyle peddling. It would it's just as challenging as any other career. If you wanted to be a doctor, a lawyer, an electrician, a plumber, a carpenter, a nurse. You go into any one of those fields, and the expectation is that, okay, there's going to be a certain amount of time that'll be spent on book learning, more than a couple of years for each one of those. There's going to be an apprenticeship. I'm going to be learning this thing full time. So I'm going to be dedicating a large chunk of my life to learning this thing. And after several years of apprenticeship and learning, then the results will just start. With trading, the you see some Instagram pictures, and all of a sudden the mindset is I could click a button and make all this money. And all I have to do is fund an account and get some alerts from somebody and just follow what they're doing, and then instant riches. That's unfortunately that's not how it works. And yes, I learned those lessons the hard way too. In fact, it took me 10 years before I finally figured out that lesson and then started to get other people around me and then started to make some real progress. Those are stories that I actually share inside the Trading Mind Wheel. And my hope with sharing some of those stories is that you could learn from my mistakes and that you don't go off and make them yourself. So 12 months in, what I would start to ask is, well, what are some of the goals that you have, right? And start to write out all the different goals that you have for your trading. Of course, there'll be financial goals, but what about time investment goals? How much time do you want to spend in front of the screens? How much time, well, when you get to that point where you are able to actively trade, how much time do you want to spend in front of the screens? That might affect the type of style that you go with. Maybe you enjoy day trading. Maybe you're more of a swing trader. Maybe you're somebody that wants to check in on the market once a week and just grow much longer term. All of them can work, but it's up to the executioner, the person in the driver's seat, you, that will determine if the system works or not, because you're the one that's doing the executing. 12 months in, you're likely at that stage. So start to think about some of those questions. And again, the Trading Mind Wheel book helps you with all those. In fact, I should remember to type in the book site for uh, each one of these shows. I've got the website right below my name on the other platforms, but not for Instagram. So here, I'll pin this comment. So go to tradingmindwheel.com to get that book. Someone, I just saw a comment asking, can I share a full recording of this? Yes, so all these recordings, uh, for this person was asking on Instagram. So all the recordings are on Instagram. So if you go to my feed, uh, you could just scroll through and you'll see the recordings there. Also, these recordings end up on YouTube, they end up on Spotify. So every evening I'll go and I'll take the recording and I'll upload it to Spotify. So it ends up on Spotify and iTunes and all those places. So if you search for Morning Coffee with Mike, or if you click the link in my bio, you'll be able to go in and grab the podcast. Let's see, what are the questions coming from? Manuel. Good morning, Manuel. Yes, Manuel got his copy of the book. I shared it in the story. Manuel and I were talking about the book a couple of weeks back. I appreciate the love, man. Thank you, thank you. Thanks for the love. Thanks for the support. Um, Papillon says, it seems like I take 5 steps forward and then 20 steps backward. I feel you, and I've been there myself too. Speak from experience, right? The proverbial boom and bust cycle, where it feels like you're starting to do well, you're starting to pick great stocks, and then all of a sudden, something happens and your edge goes away. How can you handle that? The way to handle that is by understanding the trades that you're going after and understanding the environment that your trades are in. So it's just like if you were to go to a store and buy something, right? Let's say that you were in the market for some new clothes, right, or some new shoes. You walk into the store. The store is fully stocked, well, with all the shoes that you could possibly want, uh, all the styles. It's nice, it's clean, and you could just walk in and buy whatever kind of shoe you want. Great time to buy some shoes, right? And let's say that they're throwing a sale for 15% off. Amazing. Great time to buy some shoes. But let's say you go into that same store another day and boxes are all over the floor and you can't find anything. It looks like somebody puked all over the place. It wouldn't be a great time to buy shoes that day, right? It would be very obvious in that situation to tell if it's a good time to buy or if it's not a good time to buy. We need the same thing for our trading. How can we determine if it's a good thing for our trading? Well, the Trading Mind Wheel book goes through a lot of it, and it gives specific tactics on how you can identify those scenarios for yourself. To give you a brief overview of what I do, I trade stocks, and I like to trade growth stocks, and I like to swing trade those. So my average holding time will be about a month on a winning trade. On a loser, normally it's cut within a week, often less. So, well, what I'll do is I'll take a look at all the major indexes. I'll take a look at the S&P 500, Nasdaq, Russell 2000, New York Stock Exchange, and the Dow. And I want to see how they're moving on monthly timeframes, weekly timeframes, and daily timeframes. That's given me a sense of the bigger picture. I want to take a look at stocks that are making new highs versus new lows. We're getting a little bit into the weeds here, but stocks that are making new highs and new lows, because if there's a lot of stocks that are making new highs and they're outpacing the number of stocks making new lows, it would be kind of hard for the market to just drift sideways or start to go down, right? If the stocks within the index keep on making new highs, it'll naturally bring everything up. Great. Then I'll take a look at the stocks that I'm interested in that fit X, Y, and Z criteria. Again, all those details are in the book. I will then see, well, how's the market treating those stocks? Are those stocks outperforming or are they starting to roll over? That'll give me another sense of the market environment. And I'll also take a look at the stocks that I'm holding, because if I'm doing everything correctly, then I should be trading the best stocks in the market. And if the stocks that I'm holding are not doing well, then that's telling me something else about my system. That's how we can gauge market health. And rather than taking 5 steps forward and taking 20 steps back, we could start to make steady progress. Again, all that is inside the Trading Mind Wheel book. Go to tradingmindwheel.com and you could purchase the book. Amazon, Barnes and Noble, Walmart, Target, basically everywhere books are sold. Yes, and for those of you that have already purchased the book, go to tradingmindwheel.com if you have not already, because if you've already purchased the book, what I want you to do is upload your receipt there, and we're going to be doing open Q&As for everyone that has purchased the book. So you go, you read the book, and then we're going to do a Q&A. You'll be able to sit there live with me, and we'll go through all of your questions and get more detailed answers on all that. So make sure that you're signed up for that list. You could do that on tradingmindwheel.com. Just one of the many bonuses that we're giving away. Let's see, what else do we got? Michael, do you teach option chain analysis too? No, I don't. I use options sparingly. So uh, some ways to that I'll use to trade options might be if I see a stock that's setting up and it's setting up ahead of an earnings announcement, and ahead of earnings, the stocks tend to become a lot more volatile. So what I'll do to protect myself, to protect my downside, might be to buy the option for where I think that the trade is going to go, where the breakout level might be. And in doing that, I'm buying slightly out of the money. And if I buy that option and it goes, then I'll still be able to capture that upside. But I'm also capping my downside because I'm treating the full price of the contract, that premium, as my risk. Whereas if I were to do the same trade but with shares, then what would happen is price could gap down against me and I might lose more than I had originally intended. So options can be a great risk management tool. Yes, they give you leverage, but the way that I like to use them is to help manage risk. Let's see what other questions are coming in. I think that might be it. All right, great. So this was a great conversation. I appreciate you guys all being here today. Today is Friday, so we'll see you next week on the show. We do the show every day, Monday through Friday at 9:30 a.m. Eastern. So I'll see you next week. And again, for anybody that wants to catch the recording of this episode, the recording of past episodes, these shows are on Spotify and iTunes and all the podcasting places. So you could go grab it there. Just click the link in my bio, and there's a spot that will get you there. All right. Have a great weekend, and I'll see you guys next week. Take care. Much love. Peace out, everybody.